little babies. Little babies are starting to sprout. And they're going to turn into this. Look, they're going to turn into this. Whoa. Look at that. Hey? Life. Let's see how this goes. Been giving this one a bit of thought. So just be patient with me. So I'm here to talk about how are we YouTubers? We're good today. Hope we're all well. Right, and if first time tuning in, welcome to JB's Go Get a Pie show. A little bit about myself, that's my finger, it's my sword, and knock knock. Okay? So, I brought up a while ago, I like to walk around when I do these things, so yeah. Anyway, I brought up a while ago, and for those who don't know, I tried to kill myself. It wasn't an attention thing or anything like that. The gun went off, and I blew my tooth out. And so I'm a survivor of suicide and a victim of it, because my mother killed herself. And that still weighs heavy on me about my mum. And also, you know, speaking to a lot of people since I've started making these videos about it. But what I've done is a lot of people like the fact that I gave suicide a name, and I call it David. So for all those Davids out there, I won't make apologies, but it's not meant as a cause to it or anything like that. No David made me, you know, there's no bad person in my world called David or anything like that. So in actual fact, when I went to America, David, Tyler, Forgotten Angels, that's his cup. No. When I went to America, I didn't even know his name until I got there, and he just happened to be David Tyler, married to Cindy Tyler. The foundation is Forgotten Angels, and they take in children that have aged out of foster care. That's me cocky. No, hello cocky. And you know, it was funny in regards to my sense of humour, where, you know, I go to America and David just happened to be black, which I don't have a problem with, but I just found it funny that, you know, he's a 6 foot, 2 black man, you know, his name's David, and I've given suicide a name called David. And in all honesty, he was the saviour. He was the saviour, and, you know, his wife Cindy and Shep, and meeting Jason Sugar Tree Farm, who I still keep in contact with, and Shep and David, but David was the real rock for me on that trip. I don't think he really knows just how much he was the rock on that trip. I apologise for sometimes I tear up, but I'm not a highly strung emotional person. It's me mates come down to see me. See you, mate. Ride safe. See you, Helen. See you, mate. Yeah. Come on. Get a pie! There we are. How's that? Sorry, there'll be an interruption. My phone memory has filled up. So I'll have to wait until Mary gets home and do this. So I hope I'm coming out all right. Hang on, give me a minute. Right. Probably be better on this anyway. Just a bit. Yeah. So, what I was saying was I don't think David realises how much of a rock and a saviour, well, for me anyway, and, you know, he was for me to enjoy that trip. And, you know, being in a strange, a new country, and I'm literally on my own, where, you know, other people had their brother and their father there, and things like that. I had no one. So when I had a bit of a meltdown at Rapid City due to things that happened, you know, that didn't really need to happen, but they did happen. And David called me in to have a chat, you know, and just, and one of the things he did say that was very touching, you know, was that he really wanted me to stay. He was really enjoying my company, and he could. What he said is also he enjoyed the fact that I was enjoying seeing his country, USA, and just he was enjoying it, seeing my enjoyment and how I was reacting to things. And yeah, well, as it turned out, I ended up staying to the end. But reason why I'm making this video today is it's regarding suicide. David suicide David, and how it never leaves you. You've got to keep it in check. And the times, I can only speak from my experience and talking with other people who've, you know, gone through similar things, and also in my past, because in my past I have lost people to suicide, friends and things like that. And whenabouts they may have committed suicide, you know, what was their mind frame when it happened, and things like that. And I've been very careful on how I think about, you know, when I talk about these things, I like to sort of have them to, not, it's hard to have things exact or factual, but I like to have them where I've given them a lot of thought on how I speak about it. Because I know my subscribers, a lot of my subscribers have shared a lot of things with me, very personal things. And I really appreciate that, and I thank you, and I thank you for having the trust in me to tell me your experiences. As you all know, I don't exploit that by, you know, telling, you know, YouTube what you've written to me in the comments, but I do read them. I do really try to get back to everybody. But getting back to the main thing with suicide is I literally struggle every day. I shouldn't say every day, but most days I really struggle to stay here. And you know, just, and it's more to the point where it's like, obviously it's quality of life, meaning where I am financially, in and relationship wise, what we have, if you want to put it in asset value, and I'm not just talking, jewelry and bikes. I mean, homes. Mary and I, we own this unit. It's quite a big unit. We own it. Would I like to have been able to move out of here? Yes, and more into a house, not to double what we own, more to sell and have a house so there's a bit more space and everything. But I mean, I understand there's people out there, and I take that in. But considering what's happened in our life, Mary and I, and where we are and what happened, and if things were different, if people had done things different, approached things differently, where we could have been, and we could have achieved those things, and those things didn't happen. Things happen in life, and they happen in life, and that's when Mary made a couple of mistakes. I made mistakes. We all make mistakes. Some are bigger than others, and Mary really tested something with me that I honestly didn't think that I could ever possess, in regards to an understanding, and a forgiveness, and a strength within myself to be able to, deal with it. Obviously, I didn't deal with it. I wasn't dealing with it too well, because I did almost take my life. And I turned to drugs just to numb it, but not to the point where I was obliterated. I was just self-medicating, if you want to say. Wasn't running around, I was in the garage. I felt safe in the garage. It was didn't have to share it, no one was coming in there. But, and also in that time, I had to factor in how Mary was feeling in regards to what she'd done. And then other things happened, My daughter, went off the rails. I wasn't to know. My ex came back into my life due to my daughter and also my grandson and things. And so, you be an adult and you have to step up and you have to sort through things. And then other things happened, and it sort of got in the way of Mary and I being able to concentrate on what Mary had done and how we were going to get through it. But it took its toll. It really took its toll. It almost took the ultimate toll of me not being here today. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that was a pretty low point, and I got through it. David came along and he got me. As I say, the first time suicide hits you, or David gets you, you're unprepared for it. You're not thinking of the past, nor the future, nor of the now. You're empty-minded, and that's when he gets you. And that's why I say to people, when you feel, if you've gotten through that part, you know the feeling when he's coming up again, and so you can just go, "Here you go, David," whatever, and you've really got to re-spark, re-energize that child inside of you, because children, they have no filter. Children don't have any filter. They say things how they see them, and it's hilarious, and it's innocent what they say. And I think as we get older, we box up that innocent child, that little boy or that little girl inside of us, and you know, we feel we're very much on, what's the word, we're very aware of our filter, and we filter a lot. We don't say what we just want to say because we're afraid that people are going to take it personally, or get offended and not take it, not hear it the way it's being said, with the emotion and the sound of it, you know, the sound of the word with this different sound, you know, as we speak, you know, with emotion and stuff, on how it's taken. So we're very guarded with our filter. We don't let that little innocent boy or girl out. And that's, you know, after I, you know, that I realised that it's very important to keep that little innocent boy or girl alive and keep them excited and happy, and that's why I have my eclectic collection of, you know, superheroes, and my knock knock, you know. I'm not a racist, but I call him knock knock, okay, you know. My finger, my sword, you know, just toys in general, and my character, I've allowed it to start to come out again, to keep that little boy or girl inspired to laugh and enjoy. But yeah, so getting back to the thing. So suicide, what I've found, and talking to other people and stuff, and reading comments from all of you regarding it. Now I can only speak for, you know, from myself and people I've spoken to who are similar to what I've gone through and then going through and stuff, and we've led similar lives, and it's more of a hands-on approach to life instead of an academic. I mean, I was in security, we all know this, you know, I've had military training and things like that, and you know, I've just been pretty much there for my role in life. What I've done in life is always been there to help others. That's what I've done. I don't do it for thanks. I do it because, you know, I've been paid to do it, and then when I'm not getting paid to do it and I'm still doing it, I do it because it needs to be done. That's how I was brought up. You help others regardless, you know, if they're in need, or if you see a situation happening, you need to step up, you need to do something. So getting back to the thing is, when at my lowest point, obviously, you know, David came along. On the upper end, so people commit suicide, people have tried or have succeeded in committing suicide at their lowest point. That's yeah, that's number one. So that's when suicide can occur to a loved one, someone you know, at their lowest point. The ones that commit suicide at a high point, people stand back and they just sort of go, what happened? We didn't see it coming. Out of the blue, you know, someone you know, or an actor, or someone like that, just, you know, bang. Like Robin Williams, for example, you know, he was found dead by his wife, you know, at the height. He'd gone through his turmoil and stuff like that, but there's no signs of suicide or anything like that, and then bang. And so I've given thought to that, and what I've come up with, and it's not what I've come up with, it's also, it's been written and things like that. There's been studies on it and things like that. Is the confusing one when people commit suicide and everything's good. There's been no downs, no nothing. And to explain that, obviously getting to the point where I am now, you know, well, I've had high points, and like, I've done this ever since my attempt, or my failure, sorry, I'll call it, no, I don't like to call it that, but that's what it was. It was a failure because no one saved me. It just didn't happen because I moved. That's it. Otherwise, it was going to happen. But so my failure in my attempt, after that, there was highs and there was lows. All there was like that, very up and down, very up and down. Didn't really get a good run of highs, And when you get that good run of highs, everything's running good and your mindset's good and everything else like that. And for those people who've lost someone when they've been on it's their high, but you don't see it as a high, but everything's running good, and they kill themselves. It's not, and because I've had a good run at the moment of been very happy, and it's more they do it because they've had a good run and they don't want to go down. They don't want to do it on a low because they've been low, and it's not a quick trip to go low. Like with me, it wasn't a quick trip to fall that far. There's steps, and each step going down, it hurts. It's painful, and when you're going down, it's loneliness, and also you're being forgotten. In your mind, anyway. And in some cases, you are really being forgotten. And I only say this because I have had a good run. I'm still in a good place to a point. I just want to say that my channel and all my subscribers, really, you are my saviour. Being able to talk and have that many people come back and understand and tell me their stories, it's enabled me to see that speaking has helped a lot of people to understand they're not the only ones going through this. We mightn't be exact in our journeys, but they're not that different. And it's been my saviour. It really has. Being able to express myself and talk. And so getting back, so the people who commit suicide, and it's out of the blue, people stand back and go, I don't know why, everything was good, blah, 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 blah. It's because we want to end it on a high. And you don't want to see that ruin. So you're on that high and you've been cruising, not a high where it's that point and then the next day it's a down again. No, I'm talking a run of highs where it's been good. It's just been good. It's been good. You have to factor in a lot of things to that there. Number one is it's like you age, where you are financially in your relationship to running good. You mightn't be achieving stuff, but everything around is just nice. It's not catatonic. Yeah, there's little steps and stuff like that, and you'll take the knocks. I'm not talking about failures where a bill's come in or you had a little argument with your partner. I'm not talking about those lows. They're everyday occurrences. You can't factor those things into that. I'm talking big things that come, or even in yourself. You don't want to ruin it for yourself, I just want to point out that I'm not addicted to drugs. I don't hang for the drug. I put the drug down, bang, that quick. I walked away from it, which showed a lot of people that I wasn't addicted to it. I was just doing it on a self-medicating basis, and because there was no one there to talk to, and I just tell people this: don't surmise to think that that they don't know what they're thinking because they're on drugs or alcohol or anything like that. Have a look at the level that they're taking the drug or the alcohol to, and if it's oblivion, well then they don't know what's going on, But if they're over to function and stuff, and it's still the same, they're still bringing up the same, if you want to say, for use of a better word, but argument or points, and they're still coming up once they've been sober for a long time. Obviously, the problem is, and I think what I also, I think I know, I said something to Mary, and I was talking to someone else about it, and I said, what really I find just upsetting is I've changed. I have changed. I'm aware of that. As a person, I've changed with what happened with Mary and I, and then hitting that low point and the failure to my suicide and everything else. Yeah, of course I've changed, right? But then we as the victims or the people who are suffering, we're asked to change again, but yet nothing in our environment has changed around us. I think that's a little bit too much to ask in some cases, that we have to change again, and because no one's really paying attention to what put us there to start with. You know, in some cases, some people put themselves there. I'm more to the ones where things around us happen to us that were out of our control, or we didn't know that were happening. We were lied to or deceived or something like that. And it plummeted us. And those people who did that, or those situations that occurred, no one's buttoned them up. But we're asked to change. We're asked to get better. And we're the ones who are suffering. We're the victims. You know, not that we want a ticker tape parade going, hey, you know, everything's all right. We don't want that. But we want to see steps on that world that we were a part of, that obviously for that long we weren't. We thought we were, and it was just taking us for a ride. We want that to change. We want more transparency on that world before we take charge to change for you to make a better thing. So getting back to the confusing suicides, where people have it's just like that. It's nice. Everything's bliss. So, you know, if you want to use that word, you know, it's nice. And they kill themselves. It's because they want to end it well. And I can say that because I did. It did come over me again. David did creep up in that point, in that high. And you don't expect David to come at that point when you're high. So expect him to come when you're there, and expect him to come, and be aware of David. But you need to keep, what I'm saying is it shocked me that how quick David came again just recently when I was running well. You know, Mary and I were fine, everything was fine, people around, friends, things like that. Mary's now seeing her family again, because there was a point there where Mary's family, for other reasons, you know, disowned, you know, family feud, whatever, you know. Anyway, Mary's back seeing her mum and her sisters and everything else like that, and that's all good. I haven't yet been over there to see, but that's something else I'll talk about later on. And that, I recently was at a mate's bike show, Luke Banzini, bike stables, Italian bikes, and while I was there I met up with some friends and met some new people as well. But one in particular was Connie and Marcus. We were friends. I met Marcus through bikes, and I met Connie through my ex, Joe. And I hadn't seen them anyway. It ended badly. We were young, you know, 20, 23, 24, 25. I was a father. Marcus and Connie, they just started going out. Anyway, thanks to me, Marcus and Connie, I was the matchmaker for them, and they got married and they've had 2 beautiful children, and I saw them on Sunday. And, you know, it was really good seeing them. We spoke about a few things, and it's good how, being adults now, we could see the errors of our ways, or why we did what we did, and there was just an understanding. It was beautiful. Being there with Lukey, helping out Lukey, my Desmo was there. Talking to new people about my channel, people recognising me, and that not through the channel, just in the past that I hadn't seen for a long time, and asking how I was and everything, or they'd heard bits and see how I was out of concern or whatever and stuff. It was really good, and it was amazing. I had a moment when all that happened, and I just wanted to kill myself. And it really shocked me, you know, and it really did shock me that that feeling came back when I was at a point where I was really good. But it was, I understand it in regard to why, because you just want to end it with everything nice, you know. You've ended it, everything's, you know, running well. You've sorted out problems, feuds, there's understanding now and everything. So there's now it's just a time of, right, okay, we've gotten through that. See you later. Some people might say that's selfish to do that when you're on a high and everyone's happy and stuff. I get bursts of happiness now. It's almost like taking a drug. You know, you get happiness. It just hits you, and you're on a high. It's like, yeah, because you haven't been happy for a long time. Really happy. And it's not that you don't want to be, you know, it's not that you're not going to be happy again. You just you get caught up in the moment. And you don't want to fall again. So yeah, I understand when people do take their life and everything's running good. And for those who don't, that's my understanding. That's why I'm speaking today about it. Because that happens. Just checking the time. All right, so yeah, so you got to keep a check of it all the time, even the happiest moments. Don't let your guard down. With David, Suicide David, don't let your guard down. Because that shocked me. That really shocked me. Because I'm used to fighting my demons. And in general, my life as a security guard, bouncer, crowd controller, you know, most of the time it's in the dark. You're dealing with people of violence and demons and just nasty things, and it's always in the dark. We're brought up to believe that when the sun's out and the bees are out and everything else like that, you know, nothing, there's no badness, there's no evil around, but it is. And that's why I'm here, just to bring some awareness to Suicide David has no boundaries. He'll come, you know, in a field covered in, you know, flowers and the sun's out, you know, like the sound of music, you know. You'll be dancing around and he'll hit you like a fucking freight train. And so, yeah, that sort of put me back in that spot that night when I was in the garage at my lowest. It got me again when I was, you know, like I had to fight him off in between. That's fine, I'm aware of him. But I just, in the moment of bliss, if you want to use the word, that, when you think nothing can touch you, you know, like yourself personally, I know accidents can happen, and I'm not talking about freak accidents, I'm talking about Suicide David coming when you're not even thinking it. You know, you're just not even thinking it. It's not, you're not down, nothing, and he hit me like a fucking freight train, you know, knocked me right off my fucking feet. And I had to tell Mary, you know, and I shared with someone else, Brett, who I just met. He's a South African. He lost his son to a carjacking in South Africa, and him and I were talking. And I don't think I'm talking too early. I don't think Brett will mind me saying this, but we had a conversation, a pretty deep and meaningful conversation at Lukey's bike thing, and we're going to get together and we're going to have a podcast. We're going to get a podcast going, talking about this as well as life, what's going on in life, where our youth is going. Just as men, as growing up, being around people in the years that we've grown up, you know, back then, to see how things are done, to how it's happening now. So we're having a podcast, and you know, it's going to be a real life podcast towards things, not myths and things like that with, say, Joe Rogan, but talking about, you know, how children are brought up, to how our laws protect citizens of their own country and they're not. Just things like that, government things, you know, and a lot of it will be opinion based, but it'll be based on an opinion that we've been taught by others, and we've carried that teaching from, like, my grandfather and stuff, who went through real hard times and that with the war and stuff, to what's happening now in you know, the Middle East with, you know, Israel and Palestine and things like that, without taking a side, you know. But yeah, this video was just about to bring awareness to people who you may have gotten out of that hole at that lowest point where you thought about taking your life, or you've attempted it, and you think it's long behind you, and you've sort of let your guard down with David a bit, and you're running nice and everything's nice. I'm here to say, only because you know, we have our battles, yep, but he hit me when there was no need to I wasn't even thinking it. It was I didn't think, you know, and he just came unannounced. I wasn't even thinking it. There was everybody around me. There was no need for me to think that. And he didn't even get me when I was alone. I was actually in a group of people and we were laughing. And it hit me in front of them all. They didn't see it. I had the strength to sort of keep laughing, keep going with what we were talking about, and, you know, remembering. And yeah. So I'm just here to say, you've really got to keep that fight going, you know. You really got to keep up the fight. You got to be ready at all times. That's obviously the way, you know. That's the residue, I suppose, the residue overflow of attempting or thinking of suicide. You've got to be aware of it. It can get you at the worst of times, when most people think that's when it happens. But it can also get you at the best of times, when people aren't, I think, yeah. All right, so I just thought I'd share that one with you, that to say that you've really got to keep on point, because that one shocked me. And I'd like to put it a shout out to, thank you to Dave and Helen and Brett, Dave and Helen, and their friends, for coming to see me on Sunday, unannounced. I didn't even know they were coming. Just to say hello. That really meant a lot. And to everybody else, Peter and Mark who's painting my bike, Brian, you know, going with Peter and Mark for dinner on Friday nights and Saturday, just hanging out with them, to just be welcome, you know, just taken in. I really appreciate the kindness that's been shown to me. And also thank you very much to all my subscribers. Mad Cow, Jilly. Yeah, to all of my subscribers, I've read what you all have been through at some point, and it's good to know that what I'm saying helps you in some way. And this channel has really been a blessing for me to still be here. So it's only fair that I share the truth, and that's what my channel's about. What I'm feeling, because when I see people actually changing their life or it's saving lives, it just shows that there's an element, we're not being truthful enough outside, and we need to start being very truthful. We need to let that innocent little boy or girl just talk without a filter, act without a filter, and keep it alive. Go get yourself a Matchbox car. Go get yourself a Barbie doll. Start playing with your toys again. You know, that's it. You know, I mean, you know, I fuck around sometimes and that. And I like to get me sword, you know, and chop Mary up, you know, and play with her. That's why I do the things I do, you know. And my thoughts to Andrew regarding his son and his wife. It's great. I mean, I could sit here for you know, and thank everybody. I just want overall thank you very much to all my subscribers and the people I've met. And in some way, as much as you think that I've helped you, you've all helped me greatly. And yeah, just keep that little kid, that little child, that innocence inside. All right? All right? Because David can't get near you when you're thinking like a child. Little kid, having fun. You know? You've got to have that little bit. This Oscar jumping around. See? There's Twitty. There's Cocky. Alright, so thank you all. And hope you understand what I just tried to explain. You know, I'm no college graduate, but I'm a graduate, if you want to say, of the street and of real life. I've seen a lot, and I think it's the right thing to do, to share what I've seen, and what I've gone through, and what others have gone through, and what other people have shared with me, to a point without going into their issue or, you know, exposing them. I trust you all for sharing your comments and what you've been through your own lives. Don't dwell on your past, but you need to don't forget it. Yeah. All right. Take care. Go get a pie. And I'm over 1,000, so I'm in the realm. I've just got to get 4,000 hours of viewing time, and then I'll become monetary. All right, just to keep you know about my channel. All right, and that Brett and I are starting a podcast, talking about real life stuff for men and young youth, and just real life stuff. You know what's happening around the world and in our local communities. All right, so take care. Thank you all very much. See ya.